Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina, Part 6, in which all our protagonists find the thin veneer of tranquility in their lives tested by family and friends, with farcical and tragic consequences. Chapter 15. After taking his wife upstairs, Levin went to Dolly's side of the house. Darya Alexandrovna, for her part, was very upset that day. She was pacing the room and saying angrily to the girl who stood in the corner, howling, "And you'll stand in the corner all day, and have dinner alone, and won't see a single doll, and I won't make you a new dress," she said, not knowing how else to punish her. "No, she's a nasty little girl." She turned to Levin. "Where did she get these vile inclinations?" "But what did she do?" Levin said rather indifferently. He had wanted to consult her about his own affairs, and was therefore vexed that he had come at the wrong moment. "She and Grisha went under the raspberry bushes, and there, I can't even tell you what she did there. Such nasty things. I'm 1,000 times sorry Miss Elliott's not here. This woman doesn't quite look after anything. She's a machine. Figurez-vous, telepathy." And Darya Alexandrovna related Masha's crime. "That doesn't prove anything. It's not vile inclinations. It's simply a prank," Levin comforted her. "But you're upset about something. Why did you come?" asked Dolly. "What's going on there?" And in the tone of this question, Levin heard that it would be easy for him to say what he meant to say. "I wasn't there. I was alone in the garden with Kitty. It's the second time we've quarreled since Stiva arrived." Dolly looked at him with intelligent, understanding eyes. "Well, tell me, hand on heart, wasn't there, not in Kitty, but in that gentleman, a tone that could be unpleasant? Not unpleasant, but terrible, insulting for a husband?" "That is, how shall I say to put it to you? Stay in the corner," she said to Masha, who, seeing a barely noticeable smile on her mother's lips, had begun to stir. "Society's view would be that he's behaving as all young men behave. Il fait la cour à une jolie femme, and a worldly husband should be flattered by it." Yes, Levin said gloomily, "but you did notice." "Not only I, but Stephen noticed. He took me just after tea. Je crois que Veslovsky fait une petite brine de cour à Kitty." "Well, splendid. Now I'm at peace. I shall throw him out," said Levin. "What? Have you lost your mind?" Dolly cried in horror. "No, Kostya, come to your senses," she said, laughing. "Well, you can go to Fanny now," she said to Masha. "No, if you want, I'll tell Stiva. He'll take him away. He can say you're expecting guests. Generally, he doesn't fit in with us." No, I'll do it myself." "But you're going to quarrel?" "Not at all. It'll be great fun for me," said Levin, his eyes indeed sparkling merrily. "Well, forgive her, Dolly. She won't do it again," he said, referring to the little criminal who would not go to Fanny and stood hesitantly before her mother, looking expectantly from under her brows and seeking her eyes. The mother looked at her. The girl burst into sobs, buried her face in her mother's lap, and Dolly placed her thin hand tenderly on her head. "And what do we and he have in common?" thought Levin, and he went to look for Veslovsky. Passing through the front hall, he ordered the carriage harnessed to go to the station. "A spring broke yesterday," the footman replied. "The tarantass then, but quickly. Where's the guest?" "The gentleman has gone to his room." Levine found Vasenka at a moment when, having taken his things from the suitcase and laid out the new song music, he was trying on his leggings for horseback riding. Either there was something special in Levine's face, or Vasenka himself sensed that the petit brin de cour he had started was out of place in this family, but he was somewhat embarrassed, as much as a worldly man could be, by Levine's entrance. "You wear leggings when you ride?" "Yes, it's much cleaner," said Vasenka, putting his fat leg on a chair, fastening the lower hook, and smiling cheerfully and good-naturedly. He was undoubtedly a nice fellow, and Levine felt sorry for him and ashamed for himself, the master of the house, when he noticed the timidity in Vasenka's eyes. On the table lay a piece of a stick they had broken that morning during gymnastics, when they had tried to raise the jammed bars. Levine took the piece in his hands and started breaking off the splintered end, not knowing how to begin. "I wanted—" He fell silent, but suddenly remembering Kitty and all that had taken place, he said, looking at him resolutely in the eye, "I've ordered the horses to be harnessed for you." "How's that?" Vasenka began in surprise. "To go where?" "You are going to the station," Levine said darkly, splintering the end of the stick. "Are you leaving, or has something happened?" "It happens that I'm expecting guests," said Levine, breaking off the splintered ends of the stick more and more quickly with his strong fingers. "No, I'm not expecting guests, and nothing has happened, but I'm asking you to leave. You may explain my discourtesy in any way you like." Vasenka drew himself up. "I ask you to explain to me," he said with dignity, having understood at last. "I cannot explain to you." Levine spoke softly and slowly, trying to hide the quivering of his jaw, "and it is better that you not ask." And as the splintered ends were all broken off, Levine took the thick ends in his fingers, snapped the stick in two, and carefully caught one end as it fell. Probably it was the sight of those nervously tensed arms, those same muscles that he had felt that morning during the gymnastics, and the shining eyes, the soft voice and quivering jaw, that convinced Vasenka more than any words. He shrugged his shoulders and bowed with a contemptuous smile. "May I see Oblonsky?" The shrug of the shoulders and the smile did not annoy Levine. "What else can he do?" he thought. "I'll send him to you presently." "What is this senselessness?" said Stepan Arkadyevitch on learning from his friend that he was being chased out of the house, and finding Levine in the garden, where he was strolling, waiting for his guest's departure. "Mais c'est ridicule! What fly has bitten you? Mais c'est du dernier! Ridicule! What are you imagining to yourself of a young man?" But the place where the fly had bitten Levine was evidently still sore, because he turned pale again when Stepan Arkadyevitch wanted to explain the reason and hastily interrupted him. "Please don't explain any reasons. I could not do otherwise. I am very ashamed before you and before him, but for him I don't think it will be a great misfortune to leave, while for me and my wife his presence is disagreeable." "But it's insulting to him. Et puis c'est ridicule. And for me it's both insulting and painful, and I'm not at fault in anything, and there's no need for me to suffer." "Well, I never expected this from you." "On peut les jaloux, mais assez peu, c'est de donner ridicule." Levine turned quickly, walked away from him into the depths of the alley, and went on pacing back and forth alone. Soon he heard the clatter of the tarantass, and through the trees saw Vasenka sitting on some hay. As luck would have it, there was no seat on the tarantass, in his Scotch cap, bobbing with the bumps as they rolled down the drive. "What's this now?" thought Levine, when a footman ran out of the house and stopped the tarantass. It was the mechanic, whom Levine had completely forgotten. The mechanic bowed and said something to Veslovsky. Then he got into the tarantass and they drove off together. Stepan Arkadyevitch and the princess were indignant at Levine's act, and he himself felt that he was not only ridicule in the highest degree, but also guilty and disgraced all round. But recalling what he and his wife had suffered through, he asked himself how he would act another time, and replied that he would do exactly the same thing. Despite all that, towards the end of the day, everybody except the princess, who could not forgive Levine this act, became extremely animated and merry, like children after being punished, or grown-ups after a difficult official reception. And that evening, in the princess' absence, Vasenka's banishment was talked about like a long-past event, and Dolly, who had inherited her father's gift for comic storytelling, made Varenka roll with laughter when she told for the third or fourth time, always with new humorous additions, how she had been about to put on some new ribbons for the guest and come out to the drawing-room when she suddenly heard the noise of the old rattletrap, and who was in the old rattletrap but Vasenka himself, with his Scotch cap and his romances and his leggings, sitting on the hay. You might at least have had the carriage harnessed, but no, and then I hear, wait, well, I think they've taken pity on him. I look, and they put the fat German in with him and drove off, and my ribbons all went for naught. If you enjoy this format, please leave a like and subscribe, and return tomorrow for the next chapter.